Now at 6, the temps keep climbing with a dangerous heat wave expected this week. We'll show you the steps people are taking to make sure they can keep cool as we approach the 4th of July holiday weekend. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Annette Montgomery. Now we have issued a weather impact alert for the next several days as the heat builds. Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank joins us with the first check of the forecast. Rachel, I know you're tracking that heat, but you also just got a warning.
Yeah, we've got the heat, the humidity, and thunderstorms all to track here this evening. So let's start with the new severe thunderstorm warning that just came in minutes ago. It's in effect for northern Hartford County until 7, and it's for a line that is not even within the state right now. But this line of thunderstorms does have a history of producing damaging winds. I think they will also extend it into northern Litchfield County as well, but that's a different National Weather Service office, so they don't always work in tandem. But I don't think this storm will be here for another 25 minutes or so. So we're just kind of keeping an eye on it. But again, it does have a history of producing scattered wind damage. Right now, we also have some downpours here in Thompson. But again, this is the main line that we are keeping an eye on. It's moving through Pittsfield right now, and it's moving to the east and the southeast at about 40 miles per hour. We're also watching another cluster of thunderstorms up in Canada that could bring us an isolated shower downpour overnight tonight. This computer model's not doing a great job of showing this particular line. It thinks we stay dry until 9 o'clock. I wanted to show you a severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until 8 p.m. for our friends just over the border into the Berkshires. So that's where they're thinking any more widespread or numerous severe weather will stay. But obviously we can't rule it out here either, as we already have a warning in effect. The other big story is the heat and humidity with a weather impact alert Wednesday through Saturday, feeling like up to 110 degrees. Annette.
Be hot. Thank you, Rachel. And of course, with that heat, many people will be turning up the AC as we settle into this stretch of extreme heat. Now, for those who might find themselves without an air conditioner or just need to cool down, crews across the state are jumping in to help. Fox 61's Victoria Anderson is live in Hartford with a look at how companies are now handling the demand. Victoria.
Well, Annette, for everybody staying cool watching us inside, I have to say it's actually quite beautiful outside right now. I'm here in Hartford. It's about 85, 86 degrees. We have a nice wind moving through some cloud cover, which we didn't have today, and that's what made today feel like such a scorcher, at least for downtown Hartford. But the most dangerous thing about this week is the people that might not have the ability or a place to go to stay cool. I talked to HVAC crews who said they've seen an influx of calls for repairs and installations, and they're only expecting more on the way. And one nonprofit group is stepping up to help Connecticut stay cool at no charge.
So AC season, especially June, July.
All right, so I added the discount.
It's our most important, busiest season of the year.
And I'll give her a call in 10 minutes.
More than 700 calls swarmed the team at Call the Bee Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electrical in Farmington in just one day as the hot weather moves into the area.
Obviously, with the inflow of customers, we do the best we can to get out same day. If not, it'll definitely be the next day.
Crews like the team at Call the Bee are asking for patience as calls roll in for repairs and installations. There are a few things you can do to keep your home off the wait list.
You want to keep your thermostats at one set temperature. It's going to easy to maintain temperature in the home rather than fluctuating from 80 degrees to 70 degrees.
Jeff Audent, an install manager with the company, says rapid changes can damage your unit and your electric bill. But for those without the means to pay for maintenance, organizations like Angel of Edgewood in Hartford are jumping in to help the most vulnerable groups survive this heat.
They need that help, they need that assistance, whether it's the elderly, whether it's veterans who fought for our country.
Ebony Walker is the director of programs and partnerships. She and her team have already given out 15 free AC units in partnership with hospitals and caseworkers.
When you see these conditions, you have multiple fans going, trying to keep cool. It's scary to see.
With conditions expected to get even hotter, her team is asking for donations so they can continue to help people stay cool at no charge.
To bring that to someone else is it's an amazing feeling.
Call the Bee and Angel of Edgewood both told me that the minute you know you may need help with your AC, that is when you need to call. They only expect the demand to grow throughout the week as the heat moves in. In Hartford, Victoria Anderson, Fox 61.
Thank you, Victoria. And with the heat expected to hit us soon, Eversource is now sharing tips to help manage your energy usage this summer. The company said keep air conditioners as low as comfort allows. For every degree higher you can keep your thermostat, AC will use 1 to 3% less electricity. A few other tips include keeping air vents and heat pumps clear to maintain airflow, keeping blinds closed, and operating major appliances during the cooler parts of the day, like in the morning. Every step helps put less strain on the electric grid.
So New England in general has constrained energy supply. And so when you're using more electricity, that puts even more strain on the system. And so that's why we want to make sure the customers are aware of what they can do to help lower the energy usage that takes some of that strain off the system.
And Eversource says they have field crews across the state to respond to any potential outages or heat-related issues that may pop up from the increased electricity use. And of course, be sure to check the Fox 61 app during this hot stretch for the latest conditions and weather impact alerts. You can also stream our newscast no matter where you are. Tonight, reaction is pouring in across New Britain after the Office of the Inspector General released this body camera footage from an officer-involved shooting last week. The video shows a New Britain police detective returning fire after investigators say a suspect shot at officers during a foot chase. Fox 61's Alicia Hercules is in New Britain with a closer look at that footage and why some people say they believe the officers' actions were justified.
Investigators say the two suspects were involved in a shooting on Union Street just minutes before officers tried to stop them. The people I spoke with say although it's unfortunate a teenager was shot, they think the officer acted appropriately after coming under fire.
Well, we shout out police brutality, but what are those police to do if someone's running around shooting with a gun?
After watching the body camera footage, Nikisha Osborne says the detective had little choice but to defend himself. The video shows New Britain Police Detective Niederman returning fire at a 17-year-old suspect during a foot pursuit. It happened last Wednesday when police officers responded to reports of shots fired at a home on Union Street. When they arrived, investigators say they found shell casings outside and bullet holes in the home. Zakia Leardman lives there. She previously told Fox 61 the bullets just missed her 3-month-old son.
People will say it's excessive force, but what force are you supposed to use when someone is running around with a gun and could have shot a 3-month-old baby or anyone else?
According to the Office of the Inspector General report, 9 minutes later they were told the two men matching the description were acting suspicious near a bank on Main Street. When officers attempted to stop them, they ran. They were pursued by 4 officers. The chase continued to a parking lot near 1 Herald Square. During the chase, one of the suspects fired their gun at Detective Niederman. The detective quickly returned fire, hitting the suspect several times. He was taken to a nearby hospital for treatment and is expected to recover. The other suspect, identified as 18-year-old Osain Gale, was found with a high magazine gun, according to the Inspector General's report. Both teens were taken into custody. Gale faces multiple charges, including illegal possession of a firearm. A woman who asked to not be identified says it's troubling to see people so young involved in violent crime.
So young for him to be shooting at innocent people and trying to run for the police.
As the Office of the Inspector General continues the investigation, Osborne says she's glad the suspects are off the streets.
If the officer did something wrong in that situation, the way he handled it, it'll play out. But I'm glad that he was caught.
The 17-year-old suspect was charged with several offenses, including criminal attempt at assault in the first degree and unlawful discharge of a firearm. In New Britain, Alicia Hercules, Fox 61.
A Burlington man accused of killing a woman in March was back in court today. Cole Warhon is charged with the murder and the death of Janina Brooke Murphy. He has not entered a plea. Warhon was arrested earlier this month after the chief medical examiner ruled Murphy's death a homicide. The ME said Murphy died from a blunt force injury to the head. Warhon is due in court again next month. In addition to this case, he faces several other charges related to the assaults of several other women. Tonight, reactions are pouring in after the Supreme Court issued 2 major rulings on birthright citizenship and transgender athletes participating in school sports. Rebecca Castor has the details on those rulings and how the nation is now responding.
Cheers outside the Supreme Court on the final day of its term as rulings come down protecting birthright citizenship and women's sports.
We are proud that the court decided to keep the 14th Amendment alive and strong.
On birthright citizenship, the justices ruled 5-4 that the Constitution grants U.S. citizenship to anyone born on American soil, even if their parents are here illegally. It's a major blow to President Trump's immigration agenda, but he's not giving up yet. Writing on Truth Social, Congress should start today to work on ending expensive and unfair to our country birthright citizenship.
We need to address the issue as quickly and as efficiently as we can.
Ending birthright citizenship outright would now take a constitutional amendment. But Congress may be able to limit abuses like birth tourism and surrogacy schemes. Democrats, though, are unlikely to get on board.
Donald Trump was endeavoring to violate the Constitution because he's a wannabe king, and I'm thankful that that effort has been struck down.
But the president scored a win on women's sports. In a 6-3 decision, the High Court says states can prevent biological males from competing in girls' sports in public schools and colleges, and that it's not a violation of Title IX.
We are thrilled that the Supreme Court agreed with us in the unique dignity of women, that women's sports are for women.
The court's ruling doesn't keep transgender athletes out of girls' sports in every state, but allows bans passed in 27 states to remain in effect. Outside the Supreme Court, Rebecca Castor, Fox 61.
And Connecticut Attorney General William Tong said the Supreme Court's ruling on birthright citizenship was personal. He said his parents were immigrants in the 1970s and met at a Chinese restaurant in Bloomfield. Tong said they gave him a chance to be where he is today.
But when I was born, one thing was certain, that I was an American by right of my birth on American soil, by operation of the 14th Amendment and the Citizenship Clause, because I was born to a loving family and a welcome community and state in Hartford, Connecticut.
Said today it will decide if cities and states can ban people from owning AR-15 rifles and similar semi-automatic weapons. It had previously declined to take up the major Second Amendment issue. Connecticut passed an assault weapons ban in 2013 following the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting. Tong called the state's assault weapon ban lawful and life-saving. In a statement this afternoon, Tong said, "We are prepared for this fight, and we are going to go in with everything we've got to keep these weapons off our streets, out of our schools, and away from our families." Right now, investigators are pouring through security videos to try and find the person who released bear spray into a hotel in New York. Police say 7 people were injured and 2 were hospitalized at the DoubleTree by Hilton yesterday morning. That hotel was evacuated after someone reported fumes in the building. We are told guests had eye irritation, coughing, and trouble breathing as they evacuated through the stairwells. Right now, police are trying to identify a woman who they believe sprayed those chemicals into the HVAC system.